Hello, so welcome to the second tutorial of today. This synth it's not an exact replica of any one synth, but this type of synth's used quite a lot in progressive house, electro, quite a lot of different types of electronic music actually. It's used quite a lot in builds before drops or in drops as well. Just to add another dimension, I'll just go ahead and get on with it, I guess. So first thing, as always, combinator, and we're going to create a for synthesizer and initialize patch. You're going to want the legato, mono legato on, and the portamento on, and change the amount to, or leave it at 40, sorry. Then click show programmer. We're going to use 3 oscillators today. So first one, square wave, bring the we'll leave the octave at 4, sorry, and then the pulse width bring up to 54. And then for oscillator 2, we're going to make a noise oscillator. Just leave that at white noise, that's fine. Third oscillator, analog again, square wave. This time we are going to change the octave to 3, and the pulse width this time is going to be 42. Then enable all 3 oscillators to filter 1. Change the filter to state variable. You're going to want it to be notch filter, and bring the frequency down to 39.4 Hz. And the resonance you're going to want up at 58. And then we're going to change the envelope amount to 57. And the velocity bring down to 0. And then this up to 93. And the low pass, high pass amount you're going to want at 46. Let's bring that down. Then move on to the mixer. The oscillator 1-2 balance, you're going to want oscillator 1, the square wave, to come through more, so bring this down to 25. And oscillator 3, you're going to want to bring down to minus 7.1 decibels. Okay, and then so we're going to use the filter envelope today, as well as the amp envelope, and also the mod envelope. So start off with the filter envelope. You're going to want the attack at 69.8 milliseconds. The decay you're going to want at 6 seconds, 6.01, and sustain all the way up, and the release all the way down. For the attack on the amp envelope, you're going to want at 343 milliseconds. The decay right the way up, and the sustain all the way up, and the release you're going to want just up at 105 milliseconds. And then moving on to the mod envelope, you're going to want the attack at 47, the decay at 2.36, and the release at 19.7. and then we're going to use the matrix here to route this mod envelope to alter the oscillator 1 and oscillator 3's pitch, which is how you get that rising kind of whoa womp type sound. So for source in the first box, you're going to want to click mod envelope, and then you're going to want to set the amount to 70, and the destination is going to be oscillator 1 pitch. And then in the box below, mod envelope up to 70 again, and this time oscillator 3 pitch, and that's the synth. So we're going to create 2 screen 4 distortions. Just focus on the first one for a sec. Change the algorithm to tape. Param 1 at 127, param 2 at 78. The damage control you're going to want at 70, so just leave that there and make sure it's still there. Turn the cut and the body off, and change the master amount to 85, or leave it at 85 rather. And then right click and create another Screen 4 distortion unit. This time we are going to use the warp algorithm. Param 1 bring down to 0, param 2 you're going to want at 85, and the damage control bring this down to 4. You don't want too much of this coming through. Again, turn off the cut and the body, and you're going to want the master all the way up at 127. And then we're going to EQ, class equalizer, low cut on, low shelf on, param 1 and param 2 on. So for the low shelf, you're going to want the frequency at 92.5 Hz. And the gain you're going to want at -18. And leave the Q at 0.62. Param 1, you're going to want the frequency at 596.6 Hz. So bring that down. Gain at -7.4. And the Q at 3.7. Param 2, you're going to want the frequency at 2.856 Hz. The gain you're going to want at 6.6 decibels. And the Q at 1.5. This is how I EQ'd it. I mean, depending on the song you're using it in, you might want to EQ it differently or tweak some of the EQ. That's completely up to you. Now we're going to create RV7 digital reverb. Change the algorithm to medium room. Then the size you're going to want at -56. The decay at -58. The damp amount you're going to want at 94. And the dry wet amount at 24. And then we're going to make another one, another RV7 digital reverb. Oops. This time we're going to change it to gate, or gated, and you're going to want the size down at -58. The decay you're going to want at -4. the damp at 6, and the dry wet at 21. But in the example I showed you, I automated the dry wet for the gated reverb. You can muck about with the reverb. This isn't exact. This is just an idea to give you a starting point for the sound, and you can change it and make it your own. Do whatever you want with it. So this is how I done it anyway. I then made a unison effect. UN16. Left the voice count at 16. The detune amount was at 58, so bring that up. And the dry wet at 50. And then it's useful to have a filter, envelope controlled filter. Bring the frequency right up, and it's good to automate this, bringing it, starting it from 0 or wherever you want and bringing it up. But that is completely up to yourself. And then the last couple of things I done was I made an M-class compressor. The input gain you're going to want at 7.7 decibels. The threshold you're going to want at -12. Yep, -12.5 decibels. And then the ratio you're going to want 3.59 over 1. Attack at 54, and the release at 136 milliseconds. And then we're going to leave the output gain just as it is. And then finally, you're going to want to create a M-class maximizer. The input gain you're going to want at 3 decibels. Turn on the 4 millisecond look ahead. You're going to want the attack on slow and the release on fast. Leave the output gain where it is and turn on the soft clip. And that is the basic synth patch. As I say, this is completely up to you how you use it. If you want different sounds, if you want the synth to rise quicker, then you just automate or change this mod envelope amount, the attack and the decay. You can muck around with them, see what different sounds you get, and also the amount that the amount the mod envelope has, the effect that the mod envelope has on the oscillator 1 and 3 pitch is controlled here. So if you want it to get a really kind of bleepy sound, you just put that right up to 100. If you want the synth to go down the way, then you just move this down to minus. But that's completely up to yourself. So I hope I gave you some ideas with this sound. It's quite good to use in build-ups and in drops, but just experiment with it. So please subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another tutorial. Thank you.